What's going on, everyone? This is Ishmael from Dad is Not a Now, changing the narrative for men of color and fatherhood, but also changing the narrative about the things I care about. Before we go into this new episode, I want to give a shout out to my sponsor for this episode, VT Heroes, and I'm going to let them take over.
Hey, love. I think it's your turn to do the dishes tonight.
No, it's your turn to do the dishes.
How about we settle this?
Fine by me.
How about double or nothing?
It's all for you. Yeah, yo. There whenever it matters, and even more when you feel like it doesn't. Protect you so you never feel like you wasn't. Know I'm right alongside you. Either that or I'm behind you, but always got you. End of discussion, nothing means more. First one to offer is shoulders for what you reach for. Thought I saw the eyes of the world until I seen yours. And know that I ain't see a better view yet. I'm with whatever, so don't ever you fret. Know that you covered, not a hurdle or a heartbreak. A change what a partake, cause none of them won't ever get comfortable in your walkway. My job is to aware you, fully loaded, prepare you for all of the above that I'm never letting get near you. But still in all, give you every advantage I found. Couldn't find a better fit for them, along with my crown. And since the baton was passed, I've been down. Cause failing's not an option, and dad is not a noun, not at all.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Dad is Not a Now. My name is Ishmael, changing the narrative for men of color and fatherhood, but also changing the narrative about the things I care about. And what I care about today is Master of the Universe. My co-host today is the one and only Jay Rich, the founder of J1 Studio, as well as the creator of VT Heroes. Show him the merchandise. Show him the merchandise.
And
What else you got? Show him some other stuff. What else you got?
I
got mine here.
Don't get it twisted. Got the cups and the mugs.
What? What else you got?
I've got my own mug. If you could tell, it's a He-Man harness on a black body. There's
taking a sip of yourself.
That's right.
Whatever.
And the special, and guess who's sipping the cup of himself? The dopest brother on the planet, Demetrius Hall, aka Hellspawn. What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
How you doing? See, I'm trying to pull out like my Mel Brooks taught mentality where he was like merchandising,
He's like,
going. Was it on Spaceballs, right?
yeah,
Spaceballs, yeah.
It's a He-Man the action figure, He-Man the sticker, Black Orko the sticker. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's this mentality that you got to have, because this is how we break ourselves out from the rest of the herd. Is we get recognized, we capitalize. Oh shit. Oh, can I?
what else you got? What else you got? What else you got?
I don't know. If we get recognized, we got to capitalize. Like that's something that we could put on a t-shirt.
Recognize. I like that, man. I like that.
I mean, we can't forget the fact that Demetrius here is also the digital construct of VT White from the game VT Heroes.
Yes.
You can see him in the commercials, in the newest commercial that we have out. We reshot that in Baltimore.
Yeah,
Kicking ass. Kicking a lot of ass.
The pagoda, which is a very like out of place thing to see in Baltimore.
It really was. I didn't know it was like dead center of Baltimore. Like it was like, oh, this is probably out in some weird area. And then I GPSed it all the way there. When I got there, I was like, oh, it's like still in the city. Like, like I had to find parking.
It's Baltimore is the most eclectic city that I've actually paid attention to. Like I know that New York is definitely a thing. You know what I mean? Like I've been there a few times, but I haven't had time to explore New York. But and also I've been in LA. I haven't had time to explore. But the things that I do for work and whatnot puts me in Baltimore, and I go to places that I just normally wouldn't go, and I would see like gyms as far as like homes, and then like there's a place called Jazz and Soju where they serve sake and you just have like a live jazz band playing. It's like such a mixture of cultures, you know what I mean, in one space. And so to have a Japanese centric, or was it Chinese centric, like pagoda, that we could film something like that in the middle of the night, cold as all could be, and like it, right, and it looked like something that you would play on like Mortal Kombat. Like it was dope.
Yeah.
And the commercial was dope, man. Jay, you got a gift with doing commercials, man. Seriously.
Yeah, well, it's also with awesome people. As long as I got good people around to work with, it makes it easier.
Yeah. And this thing, we didn't know each other like 3 years ago, and we didn't really start getting to know one another until like maybe 2 years ago. When stuff was like happening and just sounded like drama all over the place, in the cosplay community. Like Jason and a few other people just like really held me down, and like they didn't really know me, but they realized that I wasn't like people who were like full of shit. So I can't help but to always be grateful for this. This is like my foundation. Like Jason is a part of like my inner circle type, like yeah, you know what I mean? Like if I was to make like a reference that was like pop culture, like I would feel like Jason and like Eric and Curtis and a few others are like the Mandalorians, and I was like the foundling, and like they brought me in. So I always have like a certain type of loyalty for them or to them.
Yeah, and you've proven yourself time after time of being a stand-up dude and being a part of the culture, representing not only our different IPs and intellectual properties, but like as yourself as a brand, and even for the project that you're working on now, doing PSAs, like using your cosplay.
Yeah,
that people let's be 100. This is the cosplay. When you mention this, when you're like He-Man, and they be like, I mean, we've seen a couple He-Man. No, it's a brother. And they be like, oh, I know exactly who you talking about.
That's right.
Like, everybody knows. There's
pure genius.
There's no question about it. And like the fact that you didn't just sit on a throne of popularity with the look of the cosplay, of being a cosplayer, you took it to the next level by not even trying, you successfully
You did.
got this Kickstarter thing popping, and now you got
I'm sorry, I'm looking weird right now. I'm looking at that poster behind you. Like, yo, that is a dope design, Jason. Like, whatever.
What is that? What is that poster? What is that?
What's my graphic novel? That's my graphic novel. That's my first cover for my series Angel Savior.
I might have to read that. That looks shit. That looks dope, yo. Oh, yeah, send me a link. Is that yo? I'm about to. Yeah,
Yo, you got selective hearing, yo, Demetrius, because he's just trying to show you love, and you're just staring at the poster. You're like,
I mean, I'm
You're
looking
like,
at.
Look, I appreciate it.
what would he got to
I'm trying to hype him up.
What's
And he's
that
trying to hype
poster?
me up. We can't help it. We can't help it.
What was that? That movie? It's like, I hope you have a nice day, brother. Like,
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
you too, brother. I hope the day goes well. Like,
but no, I'm sorry, but yeah, thank you. Like, I don't okay. I did not set out to do anything special for the cosplay community. Like, I got divorced and I need something different, to do as a hobby. And cosplay just seemed like the next best thing because I have a shitload of stuff here that I just collect, and it was always a part of my upbringing. So yeah, the whole PSA situation, I am glad that I'm glad, and then I'm kind of annoyed that I affect people in very specific ways, because people look at me and like they either immediately don't want to have nothing to do with me because I come off cocky or too assured of myself, but then I'm like, that's really a reflection on them. And then I have people who either who like to work with me because they find something within me that could help not only them, but they could help me. That's like Jason. And then I have people like my boy Richard Sutton, who wants to take me down a peg by being my rival. Like he is the one that is my man at arms. And like he came onto this, like I've always known him in passing because of like Figure This in 3D, and we were working together at BlurCon and stuff, but I didn't really know him until like I did the He-Man thing, and he just came out of nowhere and just said, "I'm going to defeat you." I'm like, nigga, you Vegeta? Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know what are we doing here? And like we just started like going back and forth with like just taunting each other WWE style, and
but it
became
was part of the fun, though.
Right, but we didn't know that it was going to like, it was the whole steel sharpens steel sort of deal.
Right.
So we did not know that we would form like the bond and friendship that we had, where we were able to talk to one another and like take each other's advice, because he was like, once we did the video shoot at BlurCon in 2019, it was his idea to come up with like some like children's books, that we could use our image in, and like in these like chibi forms, like he was thinking like, we could do something like that. And because he was a teacher for a while, yeah, he was a teacher until the Men's Health article thing came out. and then he was able to parlay that Men's Health article. Well, actually, first he applied to become a manager at a gym, and then he negotiated an additional $10,000 for his salary because of the Men's Health article. Because he was like, "Look, I'm in Men's Health, talking all this stuff, pictures and everything."
Right. I mean, what more do you want from a trainer or at a gym to be in the magazine of like one of the biggest like fitness magazines for men?
Right.
Real talk, I can imagine in his office, like dodgeball, he probably got that big poster size of him, like from dodgeball, like the dude holding the ram.
I will always point to that aspect of everything being something that we should like put a feather in that cap in, because anytime we can negotiate our image into getting us more money, on a mainstream, level, we're not only doing it for ourselves, but we're doing it for everybody who's paying attention, and everybody who's following our footsteps, and like they're paying attention to what we're doing, and like not making the same mistakes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I'll always point to that. And like Richard and we had like a lot of conversations about what we could do for the community, what we could do for kids. And it was just like a harmonious like moment where we just came up with like, the PSAs that they did at the end of each episode, and, from there, like I reached out to Oliver Banks, and I told him what Richard and I had as far as ideas to go, and he was all the way for it. And he said he had a friend that, we could put his stuff on his own streaming service. I'm like, wait, he owns a streaming service? That's a thing? People own streaming services? And he was like, yeah. So he introduced me to Tre'Vius Lawson, owner of Always Press Record Television or Always Press Record Productions. And his service is on Roku TV and Amazon Fire. So they got they got like over 2,000 hours of streaming content like this continuous right now.
Right.
And like it's dope. Like we are. I still got to write the other 4 scripts, but Oliver is a student of the old school, and we are all fans of the 80s stuff and like anything that's like really pop culture. A lot of us are, but he started doing the PSA to like introduce all of the people who were in it, and then it became an intro. Like it became like the old like remember those intros,
like
right?
All that kind of stuff.
where they put more money into that than they did the rest of the series and stuff.
Yes.
Like we're not gonna let that happen. We're not gonna let that happen. But you're gonna see this intro, at least what we've got done of it so far, and you see Silverhawks, you see Thundercats, you see hell, there's a newer part of the One Piece intro that just came. I think when they first got into the Wano arc, that's in this. You know what I mean? Like we are pulling in a lot of different things to hit that nostalgia button for people we're trying to get to invest. Because like this is just like the first step. We get these out, we show people what we can do, and then we've got 10 more titles that Oliver is already pushing out, or at least formatting, so that we can put them on the streaming service and basically have a Black animated TV block on streaming services. So, I mean, if it's not for our community, then who's it going to be for?
Facts. And I like what your guys are doing. Y'all guys are creating this ecosystem when it comes to content creators and having this platform where supply and demand. You're making it, and now you have a platform where you could put it on. Because normally you would have to wait. Like, oh, can I go to Netflix? Can I go to Hulu? Can you please play this on here? Can you please play this here? And you're like, nah, fuck that. We got this brother right here. He got his own streaming servers. We're gonna put it on there. And we're gonna have those people come to us. Like we got the blue magic right now. We got that blue magic. And so and that's dope what you're doing, man. That's amazing, man. But just talk about that one image I love that you posted, where it was the video that you posted on TikTok, and it had the little kid watching you. The scene of, I think it was that Comic-Con with all the characters from the Master of the Universe, and then this little kid with open eyes. He's popping up with your T-shirt. Talk about that.
Oh, so that was okay. So there is I first met her on TikTok, but there is a user on TikTok, and I can't remember her name right now. As far as like, it's like Q's girl, like CUSEGIRL. Anyways, she came out of nowhere and did a reaction video of her son watching. I think it was the one video where I was pulling the sword out of my back, because it was like this. There was this trend on TikTok where people were using the ring lights and like being naked after they turned it on, or being something completely different, whatever. But I used the sword of power that I've got, that is basically a lightsaber, made by Aaron Lunger. Look him up.
Aaron is
Aaron's the truth.
When it comes to props, when it comes to those
was it Wasteland something or another? But anyways, yeah, Aaron like made this sword of power for me that's about 4 feet long, and it's it's got like the blue light on the inside, and it flashes white with the like lightning, and then it's got like 2 versions of the original He-Man song or a theme song in it. But yeah, I pulled it, and like she showed a video of this boy just basically doing the same thing, or just like being so surprised that I was doing that. And then another video came out of another little boy, and this one couldn't be more than 3 years old, could be more than 2, and he was like actually doing the motion. I'm like, yo. So when I saw those, I was not emotionally correct for for a whole day because a lot of people don't know this, but I'm essentially fighting for 50-50 custody for my son. I've not been with my son's mother since before we found out she was pregnant, and we have not been on good terms since then. So we're going to court, all that stuff. That's the background of my life right now.
Yeah.
But for someone who has never been much of a father figure, or someone who's never thought of himself as a role model, I have this little boy that I didn't know that I had feelings until he was born. You know what I mean? Like I really wasn't like a feelings type of person until he just surprised me. And so like I spend every waking moment that I have with him in his face, next to him, holding his hand, trying to figure him out, trying to be the father that my dad is to me. And I honestly always think how I'm going to affect his life, or how I'm going to be, the example that I'm supposed to be for him. And to see these random little boys that I do not know just mimic me, or want or see me the same way that I saw the He-Man back in in 86 and 87. It took me a while to be adjusted to that, because nobody wakes up and say, I want to be a role model for little boys and little girls.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The idea that
You never planned for it.
no, you know what I mean? The idea that Chadwick Boseman and the rest of the cast of Black Panther had no clue that they were going to affect the world the way that they did, to the point where they affected me, back in 2018, when I saw that poster and I saw 2 or 3 little boys and little girls talking about, that's me right there. Now that's me right there. As opposed to it being like a poster of, what, Juice or New Jack City, or, you know what I mean? Like where you see a bunch of like Black people, but then yet what are they representing? Where do they come from?
Right.
What kind of messages are they pushing? And yet they're talking about kings, queens, and princes, and like
And heroes.
and heroes.
Yeah.
And to see these little kids do exactly that to me, like it broke me. And now I've got more and more children starting to follow me, and like I can't do ratchet shit on TikTok anymore. I can't do
You can't be ratchet, you can't be petty.
no,
because He-Man ain't ratchet or petty.
Nope.
Like,
no ratchet comments. No, none of that.
Man.
But here's the thing though. What you do hits different from what a lot of people are doing in this scene, is because they don't even see you as a cosplayer. They see you as the hero, as the character, as the embodiment, the same exact way how you looked at He-Man, but even more so because they can see that you're a real human. Like they see that you're a physical person. And it adds that extra oomph to the fact that you look like them.
Yeah.
So like that, like doing all this stuff, like all of us here have done stuff in the industry that actually impacts or inspires or connects people because of what we do. And a lot of times, we may or may not realize it. We may fall short on the idea of it, but we always have to keep each other. That's what the village is all about, is like to help each other out and be like, yo, bro, remember, kids are watching, stuff like that. Or like you're not just you anymore on just social media. You represent an ideal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And we've seen, how many like depictions of people like that have we seen, and they just crash and burn after a while. You know what I mean? Like
it is tough, because it's tough. It's a hard burden, and especially here's the difference. If you are white, you have a little bit more leeway to be your own person.
Yeah.
But when you're a person of color and you become any type of status symbol in any way of pop culture or anything. You know what I mean? Like something that can be held up for anything. Do you now represent the entirety of like the black race by default?
Yeah.
And like and that happens. You know what I mean? Like think about how many times Chappelle talked about like why we gotta ask Ja Rule about what we think about this. And, like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's true. It's true. Like we like Demetrius and I have done business ventures together. I've given my pointers that I could about the Kickstarters and like all that stuff. I'm doing that now. I'm doing that now with you.
Yeah, I know.
I'm showing you like about like script writing and like TV show writing, all that stuff. Like we're doing all the same industry stuff that as we do this, whether it's with TV, podcasts, music, whatever, for us, we're held on a different standard that kind of makes us bigger targets.
Yeah.
Like,
Say that again.
You preaching, man. But
Yeah.
you're absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right. But at the same time, like you were saying, just seeing those kids just being inspired by you, like that kind of touches you in a different way that you would never imagine. Because again, when you grew up, you didn't see anyone like you on TV. And what you did was
we might get them here and there because
here and there,
yeah. Kid on Bionic 6, and GI Joe had a lot of representation. They had the whole UN up in that joint, so like I give them props. And they had light skin and dark skin on GI Joe.
But I know I'm going differently. But didn't Destro look like Tyrese? Don't he look like Tyrese a little bit?
As much as he was a white man, that Destro was a white man. We all knew. Come on now. We all knew he's a brother under that. And the way he looked at Baroness,
yeah,
I'm like, come on.
Yeah, I can picture him. I can picture him.
No, I'm just saying he looked at Baroness from the waist down all the time, never in her eyes.
No,
he really, he be like, she walk away, he be like,
like real talk. I can like picture him remaking that Coca-Cola commercial, like him sitting on the bus with headphones.
Because I'm supposed to be working on this animation. Now I'm gonna do like a little comic strip of Destro recreating that commercial. Coming in like, ooh. Oh no, I can't do that. I can't wait. I can't do that right now. I should.
That's comedy gold right there.
That is great.
That is comedy gold. But yeah, man, it's just the impact you're making on people's lives is powerful. But also, do you feel like it's helping you too, like the stuff that you're going through behind the scenes a little bit?
I'll be honest with you. There's I know there's people who have like the the imposter syndrome where they don't feel like that they belong in a position that they're in, right? Well, I've been talking to my therapist. Like I've been in therapy since January 6th of last year. Like I was going I was doing the telehealth thing, but it was like every week, and then we moved to every 2 weeks, and now we're at once a month. So there's something to be said about that, because that's supposed to be like a sign of your progress.
Right.
But one of the biggest things that I've had issues with and trying to reconcile is, am I a good person because I genuinely and effortlessly do the things that I do, or am I a good person because it's because I know that the acts that I do receive some sort of positive reinforcement. You know what I mean? And I'm the only person in a few places that I know that thinks, like I think outside of myself and ask that question. It's like an existential like crisis for me. Am I doing heroic things because I want to? Am I doing them because they are it's the best way for people to view me. And at the end of the day, I'm asked to ask myself, well, do you do them?
Right.
Like, what are the results? If you if you go through the process of doing something, no matter what the reason is, so long as you are doing good as opposed to doing evil, then you know at the end of the day, you've done a good thing.
Right.
It's not so bad. He said, "Not that's so bad."
Right. But you can't help but to want to question yourself and your motives, because we are in a society nowadays where there are a lot of performative actions.
That's been going on for years. I mean,
Yeah.
since
Yeah.
social media became a trending like platform, you see those people who always have the cameras on when they go over to the homeless person, give them like $500 and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But they did it to get the views. You know what I mean? Like, and you, I know that feeling where you don't want to feel like you're doing it for the performance. You're not doing it for the.
Right.
You don't want to
So
be like, look at how good I
Right.
am.
right.
You
Because
want to be like, I want to do this good thing, but then when you do the good thing, it gets recognition.
right. So here's a really good example. I know y'all seen that video of that guy who's the black dude who's looking in a bathroom mirror, and he's like, like he's always about to like want to give up or something, and then like there's like a flicker or something, and his son is in a Spider-Man costume, and he's in a Spider-Man costume, and then like they got that moment where he stops him from like wanting to punch the mirror and stuff. Like, that was an inspirational video, but then for me, the way that I think, that was performative as shit, because I know that if I had set myself up to do that, that's how it would have always been perceived, because that's how people see me, because that's how they see themselves. And there's more people who hate me than they like me, what I mean, or to a degree. So it's like I started questioning myself, like, would I really have done that video? But then yet, I don't know this guy. I don't know what his motivations were. I don't know what he does on a regular basis, because he could be a motivational speaker for all I know. You know what I mean? So like it could have been something that could have been very much in tune with his brand. So who am I to judge? That's how I came to the conclusion. I was like, oh, nice video. Like, and couldn't tell you the scroll. Like, that's how I go through my
But
social media.
that's how I handle my social media. But a lot of people, especially those who aspire to be in those places of those views, those likes, and all that stuff, they want to criticize and critique and break things down,
Mhm.
which then
Yeah.
creates a bitterness. Like, and then you become the hater. Like, and then they look for the mistakes, and they look for the opportunity to take a stab at you, and they're
Mhm.
like, oh, see, they're not as perfect as they think they are. And I feel you on that, because I love my son. This is my first son, and I want to be. I'm proud of watching him grow and watching him learn, and I want to share it with my friends on my Facebook. And I'm like, yo, look at my son. He's so awesome doing this thing. But I'm like, am I one of those performative parents? Like, and it's like, but my kid is cool. But like, who's gonna perceive it as this is a planned thing? Like, here, son, hold this thing now, do a cartwheel, and then I'll
Right. So
like, I'm like, all right. Like, I'm like, I overthink it, and I'm like, all right, make sure not, because me behind the camera, I'm like, all
Mhm.
right, let me frame up a shot. But I'm like, I can't do that, because if it looks too good, then it's gonna look too like this. So I'm like, and then you become like you're in your head
Right.
spiraling.
Right. So he Ishmael, I know we're not friends on Facebook, right? We're not.
Yeah,
We're not
we are
friends.
friends. We're friends on Facebook. Yeah.
Okay. I don't see you often.
Yeah, because I'm not posting personal stuff. I'm just posting stuff
No.
about the podcast and
Yeah,
a jaka, and that's it.
the new project. That's it.
Yeah,
That's the only thing you
that's
post.
that's it. That's all you're gonna see from me.
So the thing is, like, I have been recording and taking photos of my kid since the day I got a chance to meet him. You know, um, I'm always honest about why I started doing this. Right. The reason why I started doing it is because um, I got legal advice that said that you needed to document how much time you spend with them, because when you're going through a child custody case, the judge is always going to want to know, if you're really like spending time with them, or you're just like saying that you're with him. So you got to find a way to document. And like,
Yeah.
I've never been the type to write things down. I've never been the type to catalog something in a traditional way. So my way of doing it was to always post on Facebook when I had him in in my photo albums, because I'm always pretty good about like creating albums for photos and events and such. I
Right.
was like, why can't I do that for my kid? And it was at first it was like a little jarring, because I've had the same Facebook since like 2011, 2012. So people have seen me get engaged, get married, get divorced, um get my first house. You know what I mean? Like I've had friends on there since the beginning.
Right.
So, you know, chronicling my child's maturation was not something that I thought I was ever going to do on such a regular timed basis. But that was the time that I had with him. Like, it was
Right.
once we got to court for that first time, and I was able to get like a regular schedule, and I was posting every time I had him. It became a series. It got to like tummy time training or TTT, like 250, and then from there it turned into hero training, because
Right.
now he's 2 years old and he's able to walk and run and understand certain things. And so now we're in hero training.
Right.
And I'm like, and I think I'm at hero training 29 or so, something like that,
Right.
or 30. And just like Jason says that he's not the type to want to frame things correctly, or be look like he's performative. I can't help but to do, like, it's a part of who I am now.
Right.
Like, people have gotten to the point where they expect to see their internet nephew.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or
And and thankfully that's the kind of response I was like that we're getting,
Mhm.
because I've seen in other situations other parents who are in the entertainment industry do the same thing, and they're like, "Oh, your kid is a prop."
my kid was called a prop by one of these people that I don't fuck with. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like there's
Yeah,
like,
let somebody. I do not come at my kid because I'm.
and
We-
things like,
we-
how am I supposed?
seriously,
No, how are
who-
you supposed to handle that though?
Yo,
Because I
who
put a
is it? Yo, seriously, we should do like straight up Jay Silent Bob, go to the house and knock them the fuck out.
No, because it was a black woman. It was a black woman, and
Oh, never mind. Yeah.
see
Yeah.
that reaction?
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And
Right,
it's a,
so
it was
like
a, it
you're
was
put
a,
in this a precarious situation
it
where
was a, it was a plus size black woman too.
So I'll go get one of my cousins that's a female to go over there and
No,
yeah.
you can't even say
no.
female now. You're supposed to say a black woman.
Black woman, another black. Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
Don't make that
Because
mistake.
we're in this woke era, so yeah, I got to be
do
careful.
not
how I
say
use-
female. Ooh,
Yeah,
they will tear you up.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you're right. You're right.
Who you think you?
I'm gonna edit that. No, I'm not gonna edit that. But no, real talk. I know I feel where you're coming from, because to me personally, I thought it was just a way where you share it, you're storing these memories. So when your son gets older, you can like share this with your kid. Like, this is what we did when you were little.
And
That's how I looked at it.
but see, thing is, like, how many challenges or how many hashtags have you been seeing where you want to find photos when you were like 4 or 5 years old, and you can't find them because your parents didn't take pictures of you then? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I've seen, was it just recently, Andrew Garfield? You know what I mean? The whole Spider-Man thing. There's a lot of people who didn't really care about his movies, which, that's Sony's fault.
Yeah.
But he was a really good Spider-Man, and for them to now like be on his on his twig and berries, we all knew how great he was, but he knew how great he was. He
Right.
was showing photos of himself as a 4 or 5-year-old in the Spider-Man costume, say like, yo, this was a dream come true for me.
Right.
And Sony kind of ruined it. You know what I mean? But he got his redemption, true. But this is the thing, like, we're looking for ourselves when we were younger, and our folks were not like that.
Yeah.
So of
And
course I'm
also,
gonna be a
and
little
that
bit.
and technology wasn't like that.
It's
True.
true.
Yeah.
It's true.
There was zero
Well-
internet. There was like You know, some people had Polaroids and stuff like that, but it depends on where you're from. Like if you were in the hood, that stuff wasn't as easy to get as, you know.
Man, my parents are from Central Florida, you know, and where the KKK used to march, like down one of their like the streets, unless my granddaddy had his shotgun and the rest of his deacons, and was like, nah, that ain't gonna happen. Like that's the kind of, you know, that's where they live. That's where they grew up in the 50s and 60s, right? But I can go to my parents' house right now and see photo albums of every family member of everybody else with their name and their date of when they were born or when it was, you know, what in their age at that time. But yet look for photos of myself, you know, it's far and few in between. And look at and it's so far and few in between because I was not in heavily into the costume situation until I got older and could start paying for stuff. Like I remember like in 1993, my mom tried to make me a paper mache Red Ranger helmet, and it was like 4 times the size of my head. But she made it out of like newspapers, and, you know, and she did it. She did what she could, what she knew how to do, because I wanted to be the Red Ranger that year because that was the debut of the Power Rangers. And like now, I can't do nothing but appreciate the hell out of that, knowing how hard it is to get stuff like that made or how expensive they are.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, I got a Red Ranger helmet right here, and the reason why I have it is because of my mom, because of what she did. You know, so I think I went off on a tangent, but yeah, I'm gonna stop talking.
No. You're right on point. And what I love what you're doing is with your son is like any convention you're going, he's going with you.
Oh yeah.
And
if I have him that weekend, he's coming.
And you're creating those memories. Like Jay, one of my favorite photos of you on social media is when your son is watching the screen of you on TV, and he's like, "Yo, that's daddy."
Yeah, no. See, and just like Demetrius said earlier, like, yeah, I may have had a heart, who knows, or I might have had tear ducts at some point, but mainly for Spider-Man. But like, you know, when it came to like seeing this being in my hand and like watching it grow and seeing it learn and know who I am, like it was those things when like seeing him like look at the screen, seeing me on TV, and then like I'm sitting there on the couch, and he's looking at the TV. Then he looks back at me, and he looks back at the TV. He's like, "But that's you." But and like anytime I talked on that, anytime I was speaking, he would stop whatever he was doing and look at the TV, because he heard my voice coming from the TV, and he was like almost like I was talking to him, and it got me. I was like, man, my heart, like, just like, the feelings.
I'll match you. I'll match you. Out of nowhere, we were watching the new Space Jam. Out of nowhere, this boy picks up this light up sword we got from medieval times, Father's Day. He gets up on the table and starts saying "Daddy," and like would throw the sword up like this. And like I'm recording him, and I'm like, I have never said I had the power in front of this child. I have never shown him anything as far as like the He-Man video from 2019
like the runs and all that.
No, yeah. I've never showed him that. But then yeah, he's just saying "Daddy, Daddy," and like he's throwing the sword up, and I'm like, yo, like that shit is in his blood. You know, like there's no other explanation whatsoever. So I feel you on the things that kids do, that your kids do, that make you feel like, you know, you are more than what you really think you are. I mean, this shit is
But I'm gonna throw something extra too. Is that by that interaction, that makes them more confident that they can do that. They can be in that world too.
If they mimic what they see now, if they're not seeing images of people having their pants sagging, you know, you remember that one video of that little boy who was talking about I'm grown, had his pants sagging.
Oh yeah, yeah. He picked that up from what he was surrounded with and what he saw.
Right.
Yeah.
So if he's somehow throwing up a sword, talking about daddy this, daddy that, or doing the robot because he's dancing, you know what I mean? Like that's what I want him to mimic. I want him to mimic something that is positive as opposed to something that will inherently always be negative. You know?
Yeah. And especially like these negative stereotypes that people continue to pass down from generation to generation. It creates like this.
So so let me ask you about that, Jason. Like you're in the entertainment industry and you see how we've come such a far way, such a long way from always being depicted as, the gangbangers, the
The
hood,
slaves,
the slave thing. So how do you feel about actors and actresses that take roles today who that depict those types of depictions of us?
I'm exhausted at this point with the idea of slave movies because there's more to people of color, especially people of black. I'm tired of the being Jamaican. I'm tired of the drug references to the point where second somebody says, "Oh, you're Jamaican. Oh, you know where the weed's at." I'm like,
Mhm.
because like people don't know, it's like there's like two halves of like island culture. There is the people who smoke up, party, all that stuff, and then there's the complete like strict, like don't even eat meat, like
Mm.
like don't smoke, don't church 4 times a week, like like and it's just like, but what you see in movies and TV shows is like if you have this hair, you're obviously the drug dealer. Like or you're always negative. It's always something negative. And I'm exhausted and I'm kind of annoyed with actors who continue to allow those roles in movies to be made. Because if enough of them said no, there'd be no more of these depictions.
Now, can you blame them if they're just trying to get a check and feed their family?
And see, that's where it's like, oof. But here's the thing though. I can see if you are a D-lister, that the difference is where's your status. If you're an A-lister who already has millions and already has all that stuff, I don't see why you're going back to that. You know what I
But
mean? We do the things we have to do so that we can do the things we want to do.
so the stories are still getting made by D-listers.
And it sucks that it's happening. You know what I mean? Like, but like that's why as much as I'm not a huge Tyler Perry fan, I appreciate
Look at
the
his face. He's like, "Uh-oh, you about to start a fight."
but he also does it too with a lot of his movies. I'm looking for the people to start with that platform and then graduate to do their own thing that's not
He
the
ain't
same.
graduating. He ain't graduating. He ain't
What,
graduating.
so
He ain't graduating. He
I'm
gonna
not
was
even
be there
saying I'm
forever.
not even saying him, but I'm saying like he's creating the studios and the platforms so that somebody new could come in and take it to a next level.
I'm saying he's still making the same movies, and the people he knows is still making the same movies.
With the same bad wigs.
see, okay. I've been seeing a lot of videos on TikTok lately where the point is being made that we as a people don't go viral unless we're tearing down each other or
Yeah.
there's something negative about us going like positive shit about us doesn't go viral at all.
No, they don't like it. They don't want us to connect. They
No
Yeah.
facts.
So
keep us separated.
so with that being the case, thinking about what you just said about Tyler Perry and the way that D-listers have to do certain movies or whatever in order just to get a check, in order to propagate, even though they're propagating a stereotype that they may not agree with, they are not in a position to make any changes. But the story is still getting told. So the question, or what comes up in my mind, is that when it comes to these Diary of a Mad Black Woman type stories, what I mean, like will those always be the foundation for someone's career in order to blow up so that they can stop doing that or do something or continue to do it just on a higher level? Because the way I see it, Diary of a Mad Black Woman and Why Did I Get Married are two ends of the spectrum for the way that this man has directed his films and the way that in the stories that he's told. You know, from black crackheads to black doctors and lawyers and like, you know, social media influencers and all this other stuff. You know, the point that you were about to make, Jason, or that you were making, was that you want to see black stories of black people just existing and being regular ass folks. That's why we gravitated towards uh The Best Man, or
because it wasn't about their skin, it was just their story, like the things they were doing.
Right. I mean,
no one was like, oh my gosh, a black doctor, you know, like, or like, you know, like you didn't have to put black in front of it. It felt like a film. And that's what I'm trying to step away from, and what I'm hoping eventually works for other people. And yes, it's hard. So you got to play ball to like even pull, you know, you got to give before you can, you know, take a little bit. But one of it is just, I want to get away from us making stuff that fit in the category of black cinema. I want us to just be able to make cinema.
No, you know,
to the point where, because you know what that means? That it's now normalized to see black people in different roles.
But dog, like Boomerang did that.
Yeah.
And we got so far away from that, even though we had like the black renaissance of movies like The Inkwell and Four Brothers. The Brothers.
Yeah, I count Four Brothers. And the thing is, nobody looks at Four Brothers as a black film. They just be like, that's a film.
Yeah.
Is it a black film? There was 3 white boys.
The majority of the cast and stuff is like.
All right. I mean, you had Chiwetel Ejiofor, and you had Tyrese wasn't in that one.
Because here's the thing, the level of antagonists and protagonists, the majority were black on both sides.
I guess.
So people will if people like to categorize that, if the protagonist and antagonist happen to be both black, they were like, it's a black movie. Let's.
But Mark Wahlberg was the main,
and that's where it gets to, like.
Is he invited to the cookout? I don't think so.
I don't think so. He has done some things in the past that like people will not allow him to be at the cookout for.
Yeah, no. But I say, like, I mean, we've seen these images of us being positive, you know, folks in the past, but somehow we just got so far away from it. Like it's somewhere between 1998 and 2012, 2013. It just stopped being like, you know, positive black figures in the media. Like it just didn't happen anymore. I don't know what happened. I don't know what was going on.
Technology changed,
and then also with technology changed.
If it was 2010 to 2011 era, that was the beginning of social media becoming a trending, important platform.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's around the time when, even though Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff existed,
MySpace,
it wasn't as prominent to more than just your niche, like little bubble of, because like social media back then was still like you had outreach, but it was but so far. You know what I mean? Even if you look at MySpace, it was like you had friends, but it was still like your friends. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like now
your top 8.
Now it's a marketing platform. Now it's a entertainment platform. Like people are now, back then in the early days, no one was MySpace famous. You know what I mean? Now people are like, don't you know who I am? I'm an influencer. You know, like like stuff like that. The fact that that's like a career shows the difference in social media. And with that came, perfect example, Vine. Vine was the platform that definitely changed the outlook of Black folk in general, because those 6 seconds of comedy or 10 seconds or whatever it was, a lot of it depicted Black folk as negative stereotypes, because that was get you the funniest laughs, and it became okay because it was being made by Black influencers.
Right. Prime example, War Star Hip Hop, because that's the around that time when War Star Hip Hop started taking off. You saw those viral videos, 3
It's always a
minutes,
fight video.
yeah, buffoonery, and it goes viral. And then so you
The
had
point that was the name.
Yeah.
Like somebody start fighting, you would hear somebody scream "World Star."
Right. But it's true. And then on top of it, you had the early phases of streaming services too. That played a role to it, because around that time, I think that's when Netflix started.
And the only
Popping
time
up.
you were getting Black entertainment put on those platforms were when it was entertaining for white folk, which meant like hood stuff and like gangsters and slaves. Like you know.
Prime example, 12 years, the 12-year slave movie.
Okay. Yeah, like it sucks. It sucks that we always gotta fight.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking about The Color Purple. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh Lord, where did that come from?
I can't help it, like, but it's true. We're stuck fighting.
Yeah, seriously, I don't. Did he go full mannequin? Did Demetrius go full mannequin?
I don't know. If we hear him fart, then maybe not.
So should we wait for him to fart first?
Yeah, we'll wait. We'll wait for the fart. We'll wait for the fart. I'm here for the entertainment. Yeah, that proves it. That proves it. He froze.
That proves it. But yeah, man, it's unfortunately, but again, it falls back on
he
to
comes
the
back on. We'll bring him back on, and then
yeah. But yeah, like you were saying, it falls back on to just building the community where you don't have to make stuff like that. Like you can set a certain standard where, all right, this is what we're going to make.
Yeah.
And keep that standard.
Yeah, and I would just like to see variety.
I agree.
That's all I'm asking for. Look, I just want to see something new, something fresh, something new.
Yeah,
I don't need it to be what people determine as woke and all this other stuff. If we can introduce on Netflix Asian cinema, like all the Korean dramas and all different Asian shows, Squid Game and like even anime and stuff like that. Let's spice it up. I mean, there are examples of, like, I've seen a lot of movies starring Black roles who were like in the non-hood roles, because I'm tired of people seeing us as criminals.
Yeah,
because it's so easy to fall back on that stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
People are shocked. You speak so well, like that stuff has gone on long enough, is what I'm saying.
And then on top of it, there's no excuse now, because now, especially with technology, people are shooting films off their phones. So
I have 13 Pro. To my iPhone 10, I shot one of my Cartoon Network commercials.
Yeah,
You can do a lot with these phones nowadays.
Facts, and you can do everything and just post it on YouTube.
And but I know people. I feel like people are afraid to step out of the box because it's so easy to just if you make fun of black folk in a hood situation, it's easy views.
Yeah.
It's an automatic win. If you act good in a YouTube video, don't get it wrong. I do watch a few that are entertaining. Like I'm not saying like let's deplete all of previous black works and this, that, the other thing. I just want to see something new.
Yeah.
I want us to have the understanding that we, like every other ethnicity, when it comes to cinema, are allowed to like. It's okay for us to put out something cool. Like I'd like to see like, if we can have like an Asian zombie science fiction film, why can't we have a black one? It can take place in. Let it take place in Africa. I don't care. Like why not? Let it take place in the islands or something like that.
Didn't they have that with what was the Resident Evil game?
Oh yeah, 5. That one was awkward though because you played because you played as a white man going around shooting Africans all day. Like that was the whole. That was like no one sit down and think about this when they put this together. Like
no.
They were like, get a muscular white man, give him all the guns in the world, but they're not even gonna make the zombies look like Resident Evil 1 and 2 zombies. They were just quote unquote infected Africans. Like so they were just angry Africans, and you shot them. I was like, I don't know. When that game, I was like, I didn't want to be like overly sensitive and be like, oh no, they're always against us. But it was just weird. It was timing.
Just terrible. Man. Like I was the only person thinking about that when the game came out. The trailer came out for the game.
I thought that immediately. I was like, oh my god, this is Africa, and they just
killing black people. African.
They were like, well, we got this African girl with you. And then they were like, her alternate costume is like her butt naked with some face paint and some warrior garbs. I was like, all right.
Yeah, I don't think Demetrius want to touch that.
I got kicked out. I was talking and then somehow something happened with my internet. My bad. And then I just gotta see. This is why a good team, a great team. My boy, my man at arms was telling me, oh yeah, there's like a sponsorship opportunity with Lululemon. I'm like, wait, what? Because they want to do what? February's coming up. It's performative time.
Come on now.
Let's get that white deal, baby. Let's get that white
deal. Listen, I ain't gonna hold you. I played that game too. So did Marvel, because that's when, think about it, that's when Black Panther came out. They were like, when's the best time we can market this? They were like, Black Panther?
Right.
Come on. Like there was like that one friend was in the office like, you do know, like February. Right? Like make $1 billion.
and just like how Captain Marvel released on Women's Day.
Yeah.
Like Marvel knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was it didn't Shang-Chi release on Chinese New Year's?
Yeah, I believe so. I think it did. I think it
they did. Yeah, so they know what they're doing.
Yeah, we can figure.
Yeah.
I mean,
jump on that.
Guess what? My Kickstarter for this African anime drop off. Yup. 2/2 Tuesday, which is a Tuesday.
Yes.
The blackest day of the year.
That's right.
Two Tussin. All right.
Tussin. It's gonna be Tussin Day.
That's what's up. Like that's what's up. That's smart. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like I'm right now. He wants to send me some ideas. He's talking about another video event. I'm like, how can we parlay that? Let's an active think tank. How can we parlay this into something either HNIC related or He-Man related? Just give me the cash so we can put this money into these cartoons, man. Like that's all I'm thinking. But no, we need to do something like that's like out there, and we gotta see how much money they give us. Oh no, what y'all think?
That we'll have that discussion.
No, that off
we're gonna
camera.
keep this recorded because they can.
Yeah,
nobody getting.
You know what?
If we
Before we end
went
this
40
dope
minutes over,
conversation, what do you guys got to say? Because after we get off this conversation, we're going to just talk privately. So, yeah, we're not going to share. No, fuck that.
we
That's
done
what's
doubled
up.
our time on this one. See, this is what happened when three prominent black men come together and just chop it up. We were like, this is gonna be a 20-minute interview. We're gonna chill, and it's gonna be chilling.
And it's going an hour.
Because I mean, if we start like talking about ideas, start talking about what I mean, we can start talking about all the negative shit we want to. Like we could all do that, but the fact that we have an opportunity to sit in a space and just talk about the positive stuff, whether it be like parenting or the effects of what we're doing, what I mean, like it's rare that you see that. It's rare that you hear that, and that's sad that it's rare. So like I would 110% always want to talk about something fun and positive than going over the muck of the bullshit that I have to deal with, because people just don't like the fact that a 4-year-old came up with the idea that went wide enough to be able to make some effective like change or impact within other people's lives. Like I was 4 when I came up with that version of He-Man. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
that's probably why they were so upset. It's so simple.
Facts.
But that lets you know they don't got a creative bone in their fucking bodies. So, even if you
that's
did
what
get to the
happened.
top, even if you did get to where either of us are, you wouldn't be able to last because you wouldn't be able to come up with no new shit on your own. Like, if you're watching this, you know who I'm talking to.
Gave
Yeah,
you the stare down.
I'm always gonna be that guy. I'm always gonna be that confrontational guy. Like I know I'm supposed to be like some sort of like role model and all that, but like I'll be 38 in April. Like I am too old and too grown to change too much. Like I'm still gonna be that one that I don't have a problem with, seeing that smoke, because most of these motherfuckers ain't really about that shit. And that's it. They talk too much not to be.
True that, man. Facts. Jay, what you gotta say?
I'm just happy we sat here and just chopped it up. Like real talk. Like it is good to hear, like to be able to be in a space like this to talk about fatherhood, to be men of color, to talk about being heroes, being inspirational without tying a negative aspect to it, without making the negativity or the stereotypes be the forefront of the conversation. We were able to, before we even got into like any of like just joking around with the nonsense and all that stuff, we were able to like just talk amongst each other as peers, as and different parts of the industry. That's the other thing that's really important, is because I'll give you a quick example, and then we can just chop this down. But I think I did it on your show before. When one of our interviews was like, I spoke at a school that was predominantly black charter school, but it was for low income families. And they asked me to come out and speak, and I was like, yeah, I'll come out. And I was like, you know what? Don't even worry about paying me, because I just want to because I knew they didn't have the funding to do all that. So I was just like, man, give me a sandwich and something to drink, and I'm solid. I don't even worry about it. And I spoke at the school. I gave them my history, like down to being married, all that stuff, pictures of the wife, all that stuff, like doing cool stuff on stages, doing stuff with different actors, meeting like RZA, and like having dinner with like Booker T, and like doing all these cool things that you would never see yourself doing.
Right.
I'm hearing about it. And then afterwards, a group of the kids came up to me, and they were like, I didn't know we were allowed to do that stuff. And right there, it broke me. Like that broke me, because like growing up, I knew I was the weird kid who was into like cartoons and comics and all that stuff. And then once I got into anime, when anime wasn't a popular thing, bruh, you want to talk about being an outsider? Like everybody was cool with comics then, but they were like, nah, we don't mess with the anime stuff. I was like, bruh, this thing called Dragon Ball Z is dope, and then like, but them not knowing that they could be voice actors, that they could be animators, they could be comic book artists and writers and game developers, doing all these things that they love seeing and love like interacting with, but not knowing that they could actually be the ones producing and creating this stuff.
Yeah.
That hit me hard. And like after that, I was like, all right, I see what I got to do with this. Like, I see, like, I know now. I have to make sure that these honestly, real talk, these little black kids see that, yeah, I can do this Hollywood stuff. I can do this cool stuff. Yeah, Power Rangers, yeah, making my own. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Nice.
Like, and they're live action too. Like, you know, just seeing this stuff. And like all this stuff is important. All the stuff that we're doing, from podcasts to web shows to TV shows, movies, all this stuff that we're all involved with, commercials, just action figures. Bruh, you got an action figure. Think about this. We all have an action figure of ourselves in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, we do.
We all have an action figure of ourselves.
We do.
In some shape or form. I got my pop figure.
Oh, hold on. Let me get my ass up and show mine.
No. As Jason talks, I'm just gonna turn this around. Of what we collect in this house.
Yeah, see? Fantastic. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like all that nerdiness right there. Like all that beautiful nerdiness.
Yep.
This is not everything either. But
you know what I mean? Like Demetrius has a pop figure.
I got a few.
Yeah.
I got three.
I don't have one of myself, but I'll show the one that I got. Shout out to Greg and the Search Society, okay?
Like, just I want the end of this.
Shout out to.
I want people to see the end of this, to see the excellence of like just black characters. What, like, my mascot of my company is a sister, and she has her own sculpture, a whole sculpture. You know what I mean? The guy that you saw the poster of behind me, here he is right here as a statue. You know, look, there's Demetrius right there.
Oh yeah. Oh, I got another one too. Hold on.
You know, VT Heroes. Like all this blackness right here. Like we are all characters in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? Like, look at all this cool stuff.
Oh yeah, look at that. You see that? Search Society, okay?
Yeah.
Greg Burham.
See? Like, look at all this stuff. Look at this. Look at this. We are all doing it. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
That's right. This is the stuff that we dreamt about doing.
Let me tell you something. I had never dreamt that I would be able to get my own action. I never dreamt that if you type in Black He-Man in Google, I come up. Like, I got my name comes up as a category in that shit. Do you know how surreal that is? I mean, that is like, I'm
right. Like
crazy.
The things that has happened for us just don't make sense. Like we win it, like winning like the Geek Awards. Like the Geek Awards. That was like the Oscars for like pop culture. Everybody, black tie, red carpet, look your sharpest. It's sponsored by everybody. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was going to win a single award. I was blown away at the fact that I was nominated. I was like nervous and shaking the whole time because I'm like, I can't believe they're going to even say my name. Like, let alone win multiple awards. You know what I mean? Like, and when people are calling you they talking about you on NPR. Like, you're like, what? They know who I am? I didn't commit a crime. Yep. Like, you know, like, it's like, you know, like he's driving down 76, you know, like and the cops are chasing him. Like, it wasn't like a report like that. But like to see that, like, people can Google us in a positive light. You know, like you can find like we all like the fact that you made this network for fatherhood. You know what I mean? For like I was blown away that this was a thing when I first heard about it. I was like, Dad is not a noun. I was like, one, that's a dope phrase. Like, you know, because yeah, because dads do get put on the side on the back burners and stuff like that. Like like we're not influential to our children's lives. I was like, man, this is a dope show. Like and then now we're all connected. We're all hanging out. We're all doing this stuff. This is the example of this is the true example of like black excellence and the example of like a tribe working together like you see other industries and other ethnicities working together doing all these dope things.
Yeah.
You don't get to see stuff like this that often. This is never really put on a public platform like this. And this is amazing. You know, we're all here nerds. We're nerds, we're of color, we're doing all this stuff. You know, we doing all this fatherly type duties, and you know, like it's just all amazing. It's all amazing. Like this is an example of for the culture.
No, facts, man.
You know?
Facts. This
It's
is
not for the culture, it's by the culture. And
by the culture.
if it's not by the culture, then it's not really the culture.
Facts.
I mean, that's what
You
I
gonna
see.
sell me a bean pie next? You came with me preaching.
I'm waiting for the bow tie.
Listen,
Yeah,
listen,
I'm like
listen.
the 13th tribe and whatnot.
The thing is, I work with my dad, you know, during the day. I'm an electrician. I work for his subcontracting firm. I'm an electrician as well. So, you know, I'm with him a lot. And, you know, and he'll be 71 next month. And yesterday we were at a job where let me tell you, my former high school principal was a deacon at the church that I would go to, and of course, my dad know each other. So, you know, like and now like this former principal, his son owns a cigar shop, right? So they're kind of renovating it, make some changes or whatever. And as electricians, they called us down to come down, and like I'm listening to these two. Like he'll be like 74 in June, I think he said. And I'm listening to these two black men talk about what they went through in the 60s, what they went through in the 80s, you know, in certain areas where, you know, racism was rampant and, you know, trying to make sure that you survive just because just because of the melanin in your skin.
Right.
And like here we are still going through that. Like that is nowhere near not a thing anymore, right?
Yeah.
But I was listening to how practical they had to grow up. They had to either go into education, they had to go in the military, they had to go, you know, into the trades because
Yeah, I was
you
gonna
know,
say trades are
right,
an avenue that they were that the country was okay with us being a part of.
right. But then that was also places where we could sustain an income. I mean, a livelihood, right?
Yeah.
Being an artist, being somebody who wanted to think abstractly, you know, that was not a thing that black folks could do. Therefore, it was not a thing that, you know, that we should do. So they
We didn't
very
have the
much
freedom. We didn't have the
right.
cushions.
They
We
had
didn't have
the
the
money,
financial cushions. We didn't
yeah,
have the freedoms to do those things.
right.
Yeah, because trust me, I
It's-
would definitely got that speech being the black sheep of the family, being like everybody's doctors, everybody's engineers, you know, all this stuff. And I'm like, I want to make comic books. Like, just like, no.
See, and the thing is like with that mentality that they had, you know, it was very easy for them to pass that on to their kids. And like I'm the baby of the family. You
Right.
know, my brother and sister are 13 and 11 years older than me, right? So of course my brother is in IT. Of course my sister is a specialist for the government. Like practical stuff. And here I am. I'm an electrician. Yes, I'm in a trade, but look what I'm spending my time and my money in doing. And look at the impact that we have. Like, to be completely honest with you, like my parents treated me completely different than they treated my brother and sister, because there is a certain Spawn like movie grade suit that I have that my dad spent $4,000 on,
Mm.
simply because it was something that I wanted for what I'm doing as a hobby.
Right.
And that suit is the one that you'll see in a King Vader video,
Yeah.
you know, where he's Blade, you know what I mean? And that's coming out soon, hopefully in March. I mean, he's pushed it back a few times, but you know what I mean, things have to happen. But that cosplay, that $4,000 that my dad invested in me, simply because he saw the impact that I was having on people, and I was doing something that he and his brothers could not do. You know what I
They
mean?
probably would have loved to have been able to do if they had the opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? That right there sent me to Hollywood, sent me to LA to film in a major production in a way that cosplay got me to Hollywood, my dude. Like, what is that about? Like, I'm just waiting for to drop all the photos.
I don't want you to get in trouble.
I cannot
Under
wait.
contract.
And that's not the thing I'm under NDA for. The thing that I'm under the NDA for is next month at KatsuCon. So
Okay.
there's
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But I mean, I'm just saying, like I just can't believe that I can't wait to drop those photos. And people are like, yo, that's dope. I'm like, yeah, it really was. And now I'm realizing some things happened and I don't have them anymore. Fuck. See, my phone updated and some photos got erased. An entire album got erased, and I'm realizing that I don't have certain photos that I took in that trip to Hollywood.
It's not in the cloud. It's not in the cloud.
No, I didn't think I needed it, and then shit happened because I've got a terabyte like memory card. So I'm like, I'm good, and then something happened, and then that shit just
thing was like otherwise.
yeah.
But you got the memory.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, you got the experience. That
Yeah.
the picture is one thing, but I understand taking the pictures and the videos because sometimes people, when you say certain stuff, people don't want, like, even your haters don't, especially your haters, don't want to believe you, and they're like, "Oh, he lying, and then all of a sudden you post like the videos and stuff like that. Like we had, like, with me and Ishmael, we were working on this whole animation project. Like we were in talks, we were having meetings and all this for months. And it was just like,
It's here.
about it. Like it was like, all right, now we can talk about it. It's here. Like
Yeah.
And that was a dream for me. It was like I wanted to be. I went to school for animation. I wanted to be an animator. I didn't know making comic books. I mean, I saw that comic books can lead to animation, but like I didn't see. It was a pipe dream of me. Like, yeah, I'm gonna make it big. I'm gonna show everybody. And like, but now it's like, oh, dang. I did. All right, cool. Like,
and that's the same thing with the PSA. Like, I know you would have never imagined like seeing yourself in an animation.
You He-Man on the screen, bro.
For
Do you
real.
realize this?
Talk.
It's again, it's one of those surreal things that I'm glad that I was able to get my friends and my family brought into it. You know what I mean? Like, I cannot wait until Kawhi is like, or my son is like 6 or 7 years old, and he'll be able to see himself as like a floating Orko. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's what
you're also waiting for the level where they're at that can comprehend it fully.
Yes.
Like, oh,
mind blowing.
My dad really is He-Man. Like, and he gonna see the sword because by then, you're gonna have the sword like hidden away in like a chest or something like that. And he gonna open up the chest. He gonna see the chest plate, and he gonna be like, wait, was my dad actually like He-Man? Like, is he like really strong? Oh my god!
For real.
I can't tell my friends. Oh, this is a terrible secret to keep. Like, my dad's a superhero. Like,
that takes me to Adventures in Babysitting when they were looking at Vincent D'Onofrio as Thor.
As Thor.
Yeah, I mean, like that would be dope. Like, that would be dope that my kid just like if I had like But see, that's the thing. If he doesn't have this stuff growing up around him, then I think I would have failed him because, like I have a lot of good toys that he can still play with. You know what I mean? Like I just think that if I took all this stuff and just put it away, it's like never want to cosplay again. Fuck those people, fuck those haters. I'm tired of them. And then like he just opens up the chest at like 12 years old and be like, yo, what the fuck is this? Like, what is this
No,
stuff?
no, 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 no. Just put away just the He-Man stuff to make it look like it was like a secret, like it was your past life, like you were. Because you think I ain't gonna do that with a spider suit?
You probably will.
Like,
Yeah.
because the kid already knows he's a Parker. He has an Uncle Ben. I'm like, yeah, you're related to the. And like,
It's this wholesale lie to the boy. Like,
just,
yeah,
I'm gonna just sell him on it because it's funny because like I've known people for like 20 years that still don't know my actual government name, but they know me as Spider-Man. Like, and I mean his name he's Jonathan Parker though. He's Jonathan Parker. So he going
man. I don't know.
He gonna be good.
Yeah, we've got some work to do. You know what I mean? Like as not like just like as people who are actually doing things and putting out something that's positive, putting out something that is actionable. You know what I mean? Like I am still in awe of the fact that we are here and we are getting the recognition that we are. But to me, that's just like this is just the tip of the iceberg, knowing that there are people out there who have got millions of followers that aren't doing half of what we are. You know what I mean? Like we are
and that's something that this generation, whether it's the users or the marketing, they have to understand that there are so many people that have more impact and actually making a difference than may have like 1,000 followers. And there'd be those
Facts.
people that have like 1 million followers that real life ain't worth nothing.
Facts.
You know what I mean? It's like, what is the real impact you have on this world? Are you just
see,
that TikTok?
I think some people just don't care about impact, and like maybe they shouldn't. Everyone. I mean, not everyone is built to do what we are doing. Not everybody is built to endure what we have to endure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like my mom always told me that you got broad shoulders for a reason. You know what I mean? Like we all have weights and troubles and tribulations that we are going through on a day-to-day basis, but if we're still able to be effective, then that is nothing if not an example for what everyone else should be able to do if they want to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like no one is pushing you to do something you don't want to be. What was that? And I hate the fact that I am referring to a white dynamic or a white person's dynamic within a movie or whatever, just like I did with Adventures in Babysitting. But Frigga told Thor in the Endgame, people usually fail at being something that they're not normally are, doing everything that they are except for themselves. You know what I'm saying, or something like that. And if you're not naturally built for this, no one is going to ask you to do that because we know how hard this shit is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There are nights that I just be like, yo, like I didn't do nothing to get this kind of heat. Like I didn't say that about that person. I didn't say that about that group of folks. Like I wasn't even in New York when they said that this chick got harassed. You know what I mean? Like that's what they're putting on me nowadays. Like, like there was like a story that New York Comic Con that I harassed somebody. I'm like, I ain't never been to New York Comic Con. Wow. You know what I mean? Like I'm like,
you're like,
oh, like what the fuck? And like people see me from across the room and they say that, oh yeah, he looked like he got that kind of negative energy. I'm like, I'm Kratos, my nigga. Like I'm if I'm
right, like
I'm Sub-Zero. Like I am in white contacts. You cannot see my pupils. So no, you're not going to have a sunny disposition coming from me. Like that doesn't make any fucking sense. But of course, I'm not a cosplayer. I don't get it. But yeah, like this is the shit that I have to deal with. So if folks out there are not made to have like a sturdy, like resilience, then yeah, stay home, do your monotonous shit, stay out of the way.
Facts. And I'm gonna end it with that, man, because that's the gospel right there. But again, I want to thank you both for jumping on. This has been an amazing conversation. We've been talking some real shit for the past hour and a half. That's how dope this conversation is. This was, man. Again, I can't wait till those PSA drops. Jay show.
We're working on having at least the intro out by March. Okay.
So if I sent you the audio, that audio is banging.
Yeah, it is. See, we'll talk. We'll talk.
We'll talk. Yeah. JJ, talk about what's coming up. VT Heroes, what's going on? What's up?
I'm working on a remake of Series 1 VT Heroes with new art. VT Heroes Series 2 is in pre-production, as well as a new game that I will announce in the next few couple days. I got to make sure we advertise the Kickstarter that's about to drop in February 2222222 on a Tuesday. Check out and keep an eye out for Ajaka. That is AJAKA, Ajaka Lost in Rome. That's right. We out here doing it. Go to the Kickstarter. You can actually do a notify so that when the Kickstarter goes live, you will get notifications to go check it out and support.
There you go. And then also, I don't want to hear about, oh, we need more representation. We got people on here that's doing it. So I don't want to hear that complaint anymore. All you have to do is just support. Share, be happy if you spend some money at the same time, but sharing is for free. Just share it. Let people know. But again,
brother got bills.
For real. Facts, man.
Oh,
none of this stuff is free, people.
Nah, it's not. But yeah, man, this was a dope conversation. We're gonna do this again, and we out. Peace.
Peace.
Thanks for having me.